Okay, so our final storyteller for the evening is this really cool woman who you've probably seen on TV. She's been on The Shield and NCIS and Togetherness, and she's got a show, I think it's coming out on Netflix. I don't think it's on Netflix yet, called Santa Clarita Diet, I believe it's called. So let's just welcome to the stage Roxana Ortega.
It was 4 years ago. I was on my way to my acting class when I got the call. It was my sister from San Francisco. She said the police called her. They had found my mom outside of a post office in Monterey. They had called the phone number on her bracelet and got my sister. Now, this was bad. My mom had Alzheimer's. She couldn't be left alone. If she was alone, it meant something had happened to my father. The police said there had been an ambulance. He had been taken to a hospital. She was going to call around and get more information and call me back. By then, I had pulled the car over, and my heart was racing. My acting class seemed so far away. I drove home, and I waited. The second call came not too long after the first. It was my sister again. Dad died, she said. He had a heart attack and died outside of the post office. Now, I don't know about you, but I grew up watching a lot of soap operas, and all of them, like Days, Y&R, Jen Haas, and I had seen countless scenes where people lose a loved one. They're like over the top, and they fall down to their knees, and they wail, "No!" Well, I did not do that. I fell to my knees and I wailed, "No! Daddy! You died!" Like exactly like that. Like it was embarrassingly on the nose. But I remember thinking, oh, at least the neighbors know what is going on. The next day, I went to the Bay Area to help plan the funeral arrangements. And all my mother could say about the heart attack was, "Someone fell." And she kept asking, "Who died? Who died?" And I said, "Dad died." "Oh, my dad died?" No, my dad, your husband." "Oh, your husband died?" "No, my dad, your husband." It was like the worst game of Who's on First you ever played. It was about death. We had to laugh when we weren't crying. We're like, this is terrible. And all the while, this big scary question loomed in the room. What was going to happen to my mother now that my father was gone? Who was going to care for her? There was nobody in Monterey. She'd have to move close to one of the siblings, but which one of the siblings? And I was scared shitless that it was going to be me, because all of my siblings had toddlers at this point. They had their hands full. And I was single in LA and very without child and no prospects at that point. So I thought, oh my God, it's probably gonna be me. Plus my mom and I had a very special connection growing up. She had been an actress for a hot second in Lima, Peru. Maybe you heard of her. She did one play called El Médico y la Loca, the doctor and the crazy woman. She used to brag, "I was the crazy woman." We used to improvise operas in the kitchen growing up. She'd say, "Roxy, what would you like for breakfast?" And I'd answer, "Toast." Yeah, we were two weirdos. She was my playmate, you know? So when I decided to pursue a career in acting, I felt like I was pursuing something for the both of us. And now I felt like I might be being asked by the universe or something to give that up. Was I supposed to abandon that, get a 9-to-5 job and care for my mother? Was I destined to become one of those old spinster ladies with cats, except that my mom was my cats? I had to decide. So I did what any self-respecting Angelino would do, and I went to see my spiritual healer. Now, I put this in quotes because I'm not sure what to call her. She's a licensed therapist. She's also an energy shifter, a former producer, and some sort of real estate mogul. We always meet in a different building that she owns. It's very, very impressive. So I met in her Simi Valley dream room, surrounded by mystical books and crystals and a picture of a Native American woman howling at the moon. And I said, I need clarity. She said, great. I'm going to take you on a guided soul journey to find out what your contract with your mother is. And I was like, great, but what the what? No, so she believes that every soul comes into this world with contracts or things it was meant to do with other souls. So she counted me down from 10, and she took me deeper and deeper, deeper and deeper, deeper and deeper into my subconscious. There are 2 doors before you, she said. Open one. I opened it, and I saw myself in this glass house with plants all around. There was a music box in the center of the room, and my mom was there, young, beaming, and she had her arms outstretched. I was 7. I don't know how I knew that, but I felt 7. And we were holding hands, and we were dancing around this music box. And this was not an image from my childhood. We did not have a glass house, and we never danced around music boxes. But something about the image spoke to me. I felt like I could feel all the love and support that she had always given me. And I don't know if it was my vulnerable state or what, but I was like, oh, I see my contract. And I opened my eyes. I said, I want my mom near me. My mom is supposed to be near me. And I went to San Francisco. We packed her up, and I drove her down to Los Angeles, moved her into a small facility 15 minutes from my apartment. And I had thought that this was going to mean the end of my career, the end of my dreams and my artistic life. But I realized that that was just this whole fear I had created. See, I grew up watching soap operas, and I also grew up watching my mother, and I had totally dramatized her life. I had created this story of a woman with this artistic potential who gave it all up to raise a family. And I so didn't want that to be my life. I was so afraid of living an unfulfilled potential. But moving my mother close to me did not do that at all. Seeing her fight and her spirit, just her resilience against this disease has been incredibly inspiring. She's moved me closer to my passions, cemented my purpose in life, and helped me see all that I am called to do. Thank you.
We want to hear about your crossroads and what decisions you've had to make in your life. So what you can do is click the link below to our Facebook page and share your stories with us, or just write it in the comments section. Also, if you're interested in telling a story in our September show, you can go ahead and email the email right down below. The theme for that month is music.